Hello everyone, Lawrence here, welcome back to the channel, and a while ago I did a video talking about a tier list for Toon spells and traps specifically. Well, now we're going to go into the actual monsters. Don't know why it took me this long to do it. I really had no excuse. It was just a matter of sitting down and taking the time to actually do it. Anyway, folks, let's go ahead and begin. So we're going to start with the Toon Masked Sorcerer, and what Toon Masked Sorcerer does is, aside from the general Toon abilities, whenever it inflicts damage, it draws a card for you. Now, the problem with this is it's only got 900 attack and it suffers from summoning sickness. So we're going to put that in C tier. It can be useful, it can do things for you, but odds are, especially with the sheer amount of sheer amount of search power you have within the deck, you really don't need Toon Masked Sorcerer to draw for you, but it is decently beneficial effect, so I'll put him in C tier, but he would be in the really low end of C tier. Alright, next up we have Toon Dark Magician, and he's going to go up into very good, because he is very good. Now, normally I wouldn't run more than one or two of these guys, so what he does is you discard a Toon card from your hand, and you get to either special summon a Toon monster or search out a spell trap. So it's very good for consistency. Usually the only problem is getting him onto the board. And the problem with getting him onto the board usually comes down to, do you have specific cards in hand to get him easily onto the board? Usually Red Eyes Toon or Toon Page Flip. Moving on, we've got another A tier card that I would, comfortably call A tier, is Toon Harpy Lady. I'm going to put her higher than Toon Dark Magician, simply for the fact that she is level 4, which enables you to make some level 4 plays, or rank plays with Xyz monsters. She does pop back row. Now the condition is you have to have a Toon monster on the board already and Toon World whenever you summon her in order to do that. But it is back row removal, great for going second. She gets access to certain Harpy Lady cards, like Harpy's Featherstorm, that can completely negate monster effects that your opponent tries to activate that turn. I mean, overall, her effect and her being a Harpy does bring a lot to the table, so we'll put her in very good. Next up, we got Red Eyes Toon Dragon, and I'm going to put him even higher than Toon Harpy Lady right there. So Red Eyes Toon Dragon is one of the major playmakers of the deck because he just, for free, special summons a Toon monster from your hand. Ignores summoning conditions, does not matter. Boom, you got it. It's one of the ways you can get Blackluster Soldier on the field, because Blackluster Soldier is the premier boss monster of the deck. So usually what you'll do, if you can't use Red Eyes Toon to summon Blackluster Soldier, you'll use Red Eyes Toon to summon Dark Magician to summon Blackluster Soldier. However, that does start to get into a lot of cards having to be in your hand to use. But again, generally speaking, Red Eyes Toon is good just for its special summon ability. Moving on. I'm going to have Toon Mermaid. I'm going to put her in generally decent. She is one of the older Toon monsters, so she does have the summoning sickness, she does have the 500 point cost to attack, and she does destroy herself when Toon World is destroyed. A lot of that sounds bad, but she is a free special summon, which is the only reason why she doesn't fall lower on the list. Also, she can go into Bahamut Shark plays, so you've got that going for you. We're going to go into our next one, Toon Gemini Elf. I'm going to actually put her lower than Toon Mermaid. So what Toon Gemini Elf does is the same as Mermaid. It still suffers all the same drawbacks as Mermaid because it is one of the older Toon cards. However, when she deals damage, she discards a card from your opponent's hand. You don't get to see what the opponent's hand is. It's not like Forceful Sentry or anything like that. But you just discard from the opponent's hand. And the reason that is so great is because obviously you won't be using it your first turn that you summon her, but she's one of those win more cards in a sense. The longer the game goes on, the fewer cards your opponent should be having in their hand anyway, because they should have already been spending their resources, and Toon Gemini Elf just continues to hurt those resources. But she has too many drawbacks for me to put her any higher up, so we're going to put her in the low end of the B tier. Alright, and now we got our first F tier monster, and I'm going to probably upset some people when I say this. Blue Eyes Toon Dragon. There is no reason to ever use Blue Eyes Toon Dragon. And the reason for that is because Black Luster Soldier exists. BLS is easier to summon. He can be special summoned without Toon World on the board. He's got card removal, and he doesn't die if Toon World is destroyed. He is just in every way, shape, or form a better version of Blue Eyes Toon Dragon. So for that reason, we put Blue Eyes Toon, unfortunately, in the F tier. Next up, we have Toon Ancient Gear Golem, and I'm kind of flip-flopping where I want to put him, whether he's D or C tier. Because it is really nice to have that back row prevention. The problem is, a lot of decks nowadays, like, you're not going to be running into a whole lot of stuff that's trying to prevent you to really interfere with your battle phase. So, I guess we can be nice about it and put him at the low end of C tier. He just requires a lot of setup or has a very low payoff. I mean, I guess it is nice you can't get Fiendish Chained or Mirror Forced whenever you go in for your attack, but at the same time, I don't think they'd be able to Fiendish Chain you anyway. Yeah, a lot of the destruction traps anyway, if Toon Kingdom is on the board, you wouldn't have to worry about anyway. Maybe something like Storming Mirror Force, I guess. Yeah, there's a few things that it'll get around, but just not enough for me to put him any higher. And I honestly almost want to put him in niche, but we'll leave him where he's at. Next up on our list is the Toon Summon Skull, and unfortunately he falls into F tier along with the Blue Eyes Toon Dragon, and for a similar reason. See, unfortunately with a lot of the older Toons, yeah, they special summon themselves, but that's all they have going for them. And we've got more cards that special summon themselves and other cards that don't have the drawbacks, because Toon Summon Skull has the same, well, it dies if Toon World dies, costs 500 life points to attack, that sort of thing. So, unfortunately, he was just power crept into obscurity. Dark Magician Girl exists, Black Luster Soldier exists, there's nothing you can do with it. And the same applies to our next F tier, which is Manga Ryuran, who has 800 attack less than Blue Eyes Toon Dragon for the same cost to tribute. Because even though they are special summons, you do have to still tribute the monsters. So you're still going negative on your board for even less of a payout than Blue Eyes Toon Dragon. Like, if there is a Toon monster that you should just never ever even consider running, this is it right here. He doesn't even do anything. He doesn't have any destruction effect or anything. He's just overall a terrible, terrible monster. Next up we have Toon Cyber Dragon. He's not bad, he's just not especially great. I'm gonna put him right here. He's not quite as good as Toon Mermaid, but not quite as, I don't want to say bad, but just more useful than Toon Gemini Elf. Because it gets the Cyber Dragon effect. If your opponent controls monsters and you don't, free special summon. I'm always going to put a free special summon somewhere in B tier or higher. And if you do happen to have the setup for it, you're probably never going to pull it off, but you can get Cyber Dragon Infinity and Nova plays out of them, so that's something. Toon Barrel Dragon. I'm going to throw you as well into the F tier, but you can at least be higher than Blue Eyes Toon. You do have an effect. So Toon Barrel Dragon gets the same effect as Barrel Dragon. You flip the coins and you destroy accordingly. It's too random chance reliant to make me want to use it, so I would never use it. And again, the attack points don't pan out when BLS exists. Simple as that. Toon Alligator. Okay, so Toon Alligator is a very, very weird one. It's not technically a Toon monster, but it is a Toon card. So Kingdom doesn't protect it, none of that stuff. You can't summon it with Toon Dark Magician, but you can use it for cost with Toon Dark Magician. It's kind of weird like that. Toon Alligator goes into niche for a very, very specific reason. Bahamut Shark. You can use Rescue Rabbit to put 2 Toon alligators on the board and then get your Bahamut Shark to get into Totally Awesome. That is the only purpose it serves in a deck. And I actually kind of like that. I like all archetypes having some vanillas in there to make vanilla monster plays with. Normally you wouldn't make vanilla monster plays, but I like having the option. The only thing I wish they would do is come out with an errata and just put that little blurb in the like the monster and the type thing in that little text box down there, and just put Toon. That's all you got to do. Just make him officially a Toon monster. But yeah, so Toon Alligator is a level 4 water monster, so you play him into Bahamut Shark, and then that goes into Totally Awesome. Next up, we have the big boy himself, the granddaddy, the Mac Daddy, Toon Blackluster Soldier. He is by far the best in the A tier, but he is not broken OP, and I will tell you why. Because he has to either attack or banish a card. He cannot do both at once. Or he cannot do both at the same turn. So if you want to banish something, you can't attack. And if you attack, you cannot use that banish, because the banish specifically says, cannot attack the turn this is used. So, other than that, though, he is by far the best Toon monster. He special summons super, super easy, because your minimum level of any Toon monster is level 4, so easy to put him out there, because it's kind of like a ritual summon in a sense. You just have to tribute from either the hand or the field 2, or not even 2, just monsters whose levels equal 8 or more. So you can get rid of another Blackluster Soldier and summon him. You can get rid of, and then, or you can get rid of an Ancient Gear Golem, something like that. Or you can just any other 2 Toons, because their minimum is 4. So, and obviously you can't use Toon Alligator for that, but you're not terribly worried about that. Most of the time, though, you're just going to be summoning him out with Page Flip or Red Eyes Toon Dragon anyway. So he's got a lot going for him. He is by far the best, and yeah. Toon Buster Blader. I went back and forth in my head whether he's F tier or just low D tier. There is technically a niche use for him, but then again, that niche isn't even very good. We're gonna settle with putting him on the high end of F tier. He does gain attack points if you're fighting dragon decks. Problem is, geez, because the way I'm going to describe it is going to make him sound more niche than he actually is. Problem is that niche is pointless. You don't need the extra attack points. So if you're fighting a dragon deck and there's a whole bunch of dragons in the graveyard, sure, he's going to gain attack from it. But what's the point? You've already got Blackluster Soldier, and he's going to do plenty. So we're going to leave him in F tier. Toon Dark Magician Girl. This is another one I go back and forth on. I'm going to put her lower than Cyber Dragon. See, the problem is Toon Dark Magician Girl, the one thing it has going for her is she can attack the turn she's summoned. Generally speaking, the Toons can't do that except for Blackluster Soldier. So it's kind of difficult where I want to put her, because she's also a special summon, but she's not a free special summon. So I will put her in B tier, generally decent. In fact, I'm going to put her below Gemini Elf, because even though she can attack the same turn she's summoned, it's only 100 extra attack, and that's all she does. She's not doing anything else. But it is a little bit better. Or yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with that. Toon Dark Magician Girl. She can go below Toon Gemini Elf. She would be like on the low end of B tier, like definitely B minus minus minus. You know what I'm saying? Your final Toon monster is the Toon Goblin Attack Force, and I will actually put that in niche. There is another. This is very similar to Toon Alligator. There is a very specific deck idea you would do with that. Problem is, at that point, you're not really running Toons anymore, because you could do Isolde plays with her, or Isolde, however you want to pronounce it, because it is a level 4 warrior. So there's something you can do there. It's just the niche is too niche, if that's what I want. If that makes any sense. But Isolde's really good, so I'm not going to totally discount it. you just, if you're going to be running Toon Goblin Attack Force for any sort of low-level warrior shtick, you're better off just running a different deck. You're not even pretty much running Toons at that point. And Toons don't make a good engine because all the Toon cards all the Toon searchers and everything like are specific to Toons. It's not really any generic use in there. We'll leave him at the low end of niche though. I mean, he is better than F tier. He at the very least you can set him up and just be like, all right, I got a 2300 attack. You can't even call him a wall anymore, because back in the old days, Goblin Attack Force when it first came out, if you didn't attack with him, you just set him up, and it was unlikely your opponent would ever get past him on the first couple turns he's on the board. But we'll leave him there. Anyway. Yep, so that's my tier list for the Toon monsters. You've got a lot more really bad ones than the Toon spells and traps, and that's mostly because they got power crept, especially these two right here, Blue Eyes Toon and Summon Skull. They just got power crept, that's all it really is. Mongaree Ram was never good to begin with. Barrel Dragon, I don't like relying on chance, and then Buster Blader for the same cost, just going to BLS, like, don't ever run Buster Blader. But that'll be it for this little video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if y'all have anything, I want to get some conversation in there. Tell me what you think. Would you have placed something somewhere else? I'll tell you what, more so than my Toon Spells and Traps video, there's a lot more malleability in this. Like even I'm unsure of where I would put some of these guys. Like Toon Goblin Attack Force. Should he be D tier? Should he be F tier? I don't know. He can honestly go either way. I think I'm being generous and putting him in D tier. Anyway, that will be all for this video. So go out there and treat each other like y'all have some sense.